Fine by
All
me.
right. So Nicholas, thank you so much for your time. Tell us more about yourself and how you decided to run.
So my wife and I live on the border of Richardson and Dallas, in the north part, right off Aldelia. Right now, I work as a security guard, but I'm putting myself through my master's degree in urban planning. My wife is a tax attorney, works downtown. I wanted to run because we're about to have twins, and I want to spend the next 4 years developing a school system that we can be proud to send our children to when they're ready to go to Aiken.
Okay, so your neighborhood is Aiken, and
Yes.
congratulations on the
Thank you.
twins. When are they expected?
Friday?
Oh my goodness. Wow, your life is really about to change. I hope you guys have some help. That's my major advice, is ask for help, okay?
Well, the great thing is that our house flooded in snowpocalypse, so we're moving back in with my parents.
Oh, good timing. Good timing. Well, y'all will have built-in help there. Oh my goodness. So, just to follow up on when you said you're getting your master's in urban planning, that what a neat field to do. How are you doing that? Is it online?
It's online through the University of Southern California.
Mm-hmm. Well, wow,
And,
you're a busy guy.
Yes. Never too busy to run for school board, though.
Okay. Well, thank you for your interest in doing that and improving our schools. You said, had you looked much into the schools already to feel like there's improvement that needs to be done?
I feel like as an organization and as a society in general, there's always more work that can be done and that should be done. And as one of the youngest candidates running for any office in the state, definitely the youngest candidate running in this election, I believe I bring a lot to the table in terms of new perspectives, different ways of thinking about things, different ways that I've seen the world, and different ideas that I want to bring to the table that I don't believe any other candidate necessarily would.
Where did you grow up? And do you mind my asking how old you are?
I grew up north of Fort Worth. I went to Northwest ISD, and I turned 30 in May. So I'm 29 right now.
So yeah, big year for you, twins and turning 30 and going to school. Congratulations.
I'm not freaking out. Why'd you ask?
I know. I'm glad you have some support, Nicholas. And you said you go by Nicholas or Nick. So
either one's fine. I'm not particular.
Well, we are an organization focused on ending racism in our community, systemic racism. We were founded after the murder of George Floyd. So that's how we came to be. And we are teachers, moms, dads, neighbors, grandparents, administrators, anyone interested in this fight. So yeah, we hope to work with you no matter what happens. I'm going to get right to the questions, and sometimes I'll put them in the chat, Nicholas, if that's easier for you to take a look at too. Okay.
So let me see if I can pull it up.
Sure.
All right, there we go.
So the first question is, what is your view on the importance of the Richardson ISD Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Department and the work of the RISD Racial Equity Committee has undertaken this year?
We as a society can always be doing more to combat racism. As a whole, our country still comes along, or still has a lot to work with in terms of being across the board, even remotely equitable to all individuals regarding race, religion, class, gender, and right now, I think the hardest part that we can accomplish, or the hardest barrier to get over, is getting individuals to even acknowledge that there are still large systemic barriers in our society. And to confront those head on means confronting those individuals who adamantly refuse to participate in the process, refuse to acknowledge that there even is an issue. And I believe that having it at the school level, the way that Richardson ISD is doing, is teaching our kids ultimately that even though everything is bad right now, they could grow up and lead a world where it could be somewhat better for them and their children.
Thank you. We definitely have that hope for sure, and we're all working together. So my next question is, if you were to become a board trustee, how highly would you prioritize the continued work Richardson is doing with the EDI department, equity, diversity, and inclusion?
Well, I'm of the belief that there's always more money to go around than necessarily that can be led to be believed by what's in the budget. So I would definitely go one step further and increase the budget that EDI has to work with. I would increase training requirements for teachers, staff, and administrators, and bring in new speakers, programs, opportunities that even parents could participate in order to have their experiences hopefully be shaped by the amount of work that the ISD is doing on a day-to-day level in regards to social justice.
Thank you, Nick. This next question is kind of long, so I'm putting it in the chat. It's got lots of commas. What approaches would you like to see RISD pursue in addressing racial disparities identified in special education placement, student discipline, home internet access, placement in pre-AP or AP courses, and retention in secondary GT services, and preparation for four-year colleges? So we're just identifying a few different areas. If you have anything you want to say about those.
I do. And I'm glad you brought up discipline, because that's one thing that I keep coming back to as an individual, especially in light of not only the George Floyd protests, but the increasing tension between communities and police departments over the last couple of years, especially, or even more so since it's more or less exploded. I call it clogging the school to prison pipeline. We're all familiar with the concept where an individual student gets repeatedly disciplined, more harshly so because of their race in schools, and that can lead to more significant problems down the line, ultimately resulting in them being incarcerated. So I want to ultimately reform CMLC, which is the the disciplinary alternative education center, to adopt forward-thinking.
What were the letters you said, Nicholas?
CMLC, which if you give me a moment, I can pull that up.
And it's an alternative campus?
Correct. It's the disciplinary alternative education program.
Okay. That's fine. I'm just happy for you to explain what it means.
And so Texas and the country as a whole, across the board, spends more money putting police officers in schools than they do hiring counselors. Texas even more so than the entire country. And I would like to, I'm going to say straight up, I don't want to see cops in schools. I'm going to take a bold stance right now. I think it's very problematic. I think it leads to school administrators taking a step back when it comes to potentially in-house discipline, and leads to more individuals receiving citations and ultimately arrests for what 20 years ago would be considered minor disruptions and worthy of detention. Frankly, if we can get to an opportunity where school administrators take their disciplinary actions back from a court system, and and parents return that power to the schools, we could see a huge growth in more responsible students rather than just locking them up. As far as home internet access, we had in the bond issue, it talks about a significant amount of money putting it towards technology programs. There's absolutely no reason the school district cannot license out or rent out or lease out 4G, 5G hotspots in the same way that each kid has the opportunity to license out a laptop or anything along those lines. There's no reason we can't take that one step further to ensure that all individuals have equal access to do their homework in a manner so choosing, especially now more today during COVID, where more and more education is in a virtual environment. Placement in pre-AP and AP courses and retention in secondary GT services. I was a GT kid growing up. And so that was 3rd through 5th grade for me. And then 6th grade, I was just shoved into pre-AP and AP course and eventually AP courses in high school. And it was a significant adjustment because of how GT was taught to me versus how pre-AP and AP classes follow a national required model test preparation and all that. And I would do more for these these identified gifted and talented students to bridge the gap between what they're doing in their GT courses and their GT enrichments in order to ensure that their skills as gifted individuals are better suited for pre-AP courses. Preparation for 4-year colleges, ensuring that any student who wants to go to college has the opportunity to do so. And ensuring that that students who don't want to go to college or choosing to go to the military have just as many needs met as those as college-bound individuals. Ensuring that starting junior year, every student who wants to do so is prepared to take the pre-SAT, and starting senior year, every student who wishes to do so has the opportunity to prepare to take the SAT or the ACT. Ultimately ensuring that the most students get access to the most scholarship money, which is directly correlated with college success.
Sure. Thank you, Nicholas. So I'm going to put another one. That was a lot of things to answer. Thanks. The next one is, do you support RISD's recent progress in the areas of pre-K programs, ACE campuses, improvements in GT identification, and any other steps taken to help close the achievement gaps? And do you support the continuing efforts of these areas?
I support universal pre-K 100%, and I definitely support that Richardson ISD is taking bold steps in that direction in preparation or ahead of the rest of the country adopting those same goals. And as far as ACE and GT, definitely making sure that all individuals who teachers believe qualify for those programs have those opportunities afforded to them as quickly as possible, because closing the achievement gap is more than just making sure everybody has the funds necessary to meet their needs. It's teachers taking time to ensure that those needs are being met rather than just throwing money at the problem and hoping for the best.
So the next question is about the kind of training you mentioned. How important do you believe it is to implement culturally responsive teaching approaches in the classroom and instructional materials in the classroom, K through 12, and also professional development for teachers in all grades, teaching them culturally responsive awareness?
Oh, I believe it's extremely important in terms of like previously closing the achievement gap, making sure that all students are aware of all other students in their classes, making sure that that nobody is being discriminated against, and the best way to do that is through teaching approaches. I would make sure that each teacher has the opportunity to set their own agenda rather than relying necessarily on a statewide or nationwide program, as each individual classroom is an individual classroom, and education should be geared towards those students directly. Same goes for professional development. Each Richardson school is very different, and we need to tailor our approaches to the makeups of each school and their teachers and their administrators, and ensure that anyone who feels uncomfortable currently day to day is having the opportunity to address their concerns in those professional development environments.
Yeah, that kind of leads to the next question is, do you support direct efforts to address and prevent future incidents of racist and racially insensitive behavior in RISD? And then what is your perspective on the role of anti-racist work and discussions about implicit bias in education?
We can always be doing more, but definitely Richardson has been stepping in the right direction doing so. I would take it one step further again and invite the parents of students into training sessions along with their students, so that for lack of a better term, any gains made in the classroom in terms of social awareness aren't being minimized within an individual's household for whatever reason, and ensuring that parents have an opportunity to learn as well as their students.
That's great. And then so the first part of the question, you answered the second part. Do you support direct efforts to address and prevent future incidents of racist and racist behavior in RISD?
Yes, racism and classism, sexism, anything along those lines should be immediately called out and brought to the attention of teachers, administrators, anything like that. We are no longer in a society where we can afford to sweep those things under the rugs or just chalk it up to bullying and move on. This is an opportunity to end the kind of systematic abuse that ignorance has on our society. And if that means directly confronting it head on, then we must.
Well, Nicholas, your kids are already lucky to have a father who cares so much about their future. That's awesome. And I take it to believe you care about the future of other students too. Is there anything you want to say about why you hope people vote for you?
I hope people vote for me because I want to bring fresh ideas to the table. And I want to be able to say in 4 years that I made this school better in time for my children to get involved, not necessarily just cleaning up after them, for lack of a better term. Regardless of what happens in this election, every candidate running for this slot is an amazing choice, and really we can't go wrong.
And what we hope as an organization is that no matter what, we can work with each of you to continue to strengthen our community, especially across racial boundaries. So thank you so much for your time, Nicholas.
No matter what happens after May 1st, I'd be happy to be a part of your organization.
Oh, thank you. And gosh, we wish you so much luck this week. Just stay as calm as possible.
Possible is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, but yes.
Yeah, well, good luck to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, Nick.
Bye.